Yo, what's up, everyone? It's Stefano here, and today we are stacking the life. When I heard about this build, I was really intrigued. Having a lot of life, for whatever reason, intrigues me in Path of Exile. I've never thought I could have 18,000 life in POE and be useful, and this is what this build does exactly. Originally, I heard about this build from Guardian of Numbers. He was supporting anti-swipe and the boys in a Magic Find group, and he was giving a lot of fire damage to the carry who was using a Wind Ripper. Um, about week one into the league, he was giving around 2,000 flat fire without any real big investments on his character, and it really, really intrigued me. I kept hearing him talk about the build. He was having fun. He was the most enthusiastic in the group. Just kidding, everyone was enthusiastic, but there was something special about this build, and I'm making this video today just to give this build a little bit of highlight. So in case one of you guys, sees this build and it attracts your guys' attention, that we can improve this build moving forward. This build might be a really good build to play before you transition into a Guardian or a bot, or into a Scion or a bot when you can afford it. Um, I really, really, really enjoy this build. As you can see, I have 1,800 life, and my gear is very cheap. I'm in a private league right now, the Introvert League made by Cloudy and Dezel made, and I support Dezel, and I just love this character. I just want to give a big shout out to Garden for putting me onto this build. We had a lot of fun in Crucible League together, and this is where you can find him on Twitch. He is an up and coming streamer, and I just wanted to give you guys the info. It's twitch.tv Garden of Numbers. All this is going to be in the comment section below. This is the build guide life stacking link bot. You put a lot of time into this and effort, and it's a lot better than this video is going to be. It's going to go into a lot more depth and details because I've only played the build for a week and he's been playing the build for a bunch of leagues. So make sure to go ahead, hit him up on his social medias, like, subscribe, and follow, and tell him thank you for making such a cool build. Right now, I'm just with a random guy in the league. His name is Thunder Fury. I hope you guys get to know him. He is 137k, and if I link up to him, we can see around what his damage is. 200k. So right now I'm giving him a good amount of damage. Could be a little bit better. To not oversimplify this build, if you type in life on your tree and you grab every point that gives you life, and by life I mean it has to give you flat life or increased life, you're making this build right. So I have the increased life here, the increased life here, increased life here, here, here. I made a cluster for life. I go into a whole nother ascendancy for life, travel down to a new ascendancy for life. So I grab everything life related. And I also grab the 6 masteries, and this is the only build I've seen thus that uses the 10% more maximum life mastery. Now, once you see all the life nodes, the next thing you want to do is look for the link nodes. On this particular build, we skip this one mastery right here, the link skill effect. But we do grab this extra cast speed, 20% effect that is not calculated on tooltip, and 15% that's not calculated on tooltip, and plus 2 levels is. So we have a total of 35% effect that's not calculated on tooltip, and 2 very, very interesting masteries. Links take twice as long to break so that you can be a little bit farther away from the carrier. It's not based on AoE, it's based on if your link is connected or broken. And my favorite mastery in the game, this league, your movement speed is equal to the highest movement speed among league players. Now let's see, what does this look like? Right now, this is my movement speed, right? I'm going to go ahead and link up to Dezel. Now look at me. I'm literally Michael Jordan. Now he's on his headhunter build at the moment, so I'm not that much faster. But if he was on his regular character, with Mage Blood, I would inherit all speed that the Mage Blood gives him. So my defense, if I go down, I'm at 238 movement speed and 8 action speed. And when I unlink to him, I'll drop down to 49. So just by linking up to Dezel, I get 200-ish movement speed. Now, if your carry has 500 movement speed, you get 500 movement speed. I honestly do think that that is the best of the build. Um, and then we are looking at giving around 1200 added fire times the 1.35 multiplier. So if we want to just get a quick idea of what that is, the top end damage at the moment for 1800 life is around 1600 flat fire. I'm giving 1600 flat fire. As for gear, I'm in a group found league, which means only a few people are playing, small private-ish league. So we don't have access to trade. We can only trade with each other. And all this gear was farmed by the group itself. I'm using a Lethal Pride, and all it does is give me 4% and 4% max life on the two notables and a bunch of strength. I'm using, like I said, a small cluster. And then besides that, I'm using, you know, a 1C unique, a 10C unique, Fractured Life Helm that I crafted for a second. You don't need the spell suppression. A Determination Amulet so that I can run Determination, which is a little bit different than Numbers version, but you don't need this. You don't need to actually run Determination, because believe it or not, you can fill out your Ascendancy later on, but this will grant you armor equal to 160% of your reserve life. So I give a lot of armor without aura effect, without running Determination. If you guys want to kind of see what that looks like, um, my armor would be something like this. 53,000 armor without Determination enough. All from my Ascendancy point, Radiant Fate. As soon as I turn on my Determination, it will jump another 40k. Two Chaos Rings. This one has a little nice fracture for double Chaos Res. Life, strength on every piece of gear that's rare. Life, strength, again, on every piece of gear that's rare. Some regen for some benefit. Now, one thing that I definitely do, this build is super, super tanky. And as we can quickly go to the POB, we have around 80k effective hit pool. Now, you will lose life if you do this, but I recommend when you're getting used to the build to take out this Dissolution of the Flesh. This gives you tons of life, but it also makes it that you need to not take damage for 2 seconds. So your damage stacks on top of each other. So I definitely consider taking this out while you're learning the build and getting comfortable with it. And what it would look like in game is 1800 life. It will drop down to 14,000. And once you feel tanky enough, once you have all your gear in the right place, you have enough res, you can definitely start using Dissolution of the Flesh. One really cool thing about this build that I did not know. I did not know more life existed in Path of Exile until this build. The places that we get more life are the following. This goes divines up to 30% more life. So this gives you 30% more life of all your flat and increased life on your build. Blood Magic gives you another 10% more life. The Mastery node gives you 10%. So with all that, you have 50% more life. This one part I'm going to explain, you might need to watch it twice because it's so confusing, but it's the coolest thing I've ever seen in Path of Exile for a while. Blood Magic tells us, hey, guys, we're not going to use any mana. We're going to have 0 mana, removes all mana. We're going to give you 10% more life. Your skills are going to cost life instead of mana, and your skills reserve life or mana. Okay? And what does Eternal Blessing say? Eternal Blessing says your skills cost nothing to reserve. The supported skill costs nothing to reserve. It has an increased aura effect. It counts as a blessing, but you can only have one aura from your blessing skills, and you can only reserve mana with this one skill. So the only skill that can use mana or like be on mana is the skill that's linked to Eternal Blessing. So Eternal Blessing makes Purity of Elements, in this case, free. There's no cost. It counts as a blessing and it's free. but it also makes it so that I can't reserve any other aura on my mana. Well, because of blood magic, I'm not reserving any more of my auras on mana. This makes determination free, and the rest of my two auras are petrified blood, which is on my life, and vitality, clarity, precision, and defiance banner. They're all reserving life, and that's why I can actually stack a bunch of auras, even though the situation of eternal blessing says you can't use any other auras on mana. So I didn't really actually know that, and I don't know if I did the best explanation, but just keep in mind that this lets us have one completely free aura. And that is really, really, really cool about this build. All right, like always, I'm going to give you a map showcase. Des will just put in a Tropical Island. I'm going to go ahead and show you what the build looks like when I'm playing with Des. I'll link up to him like this. Oh, I'm actually trolling. I'm using the Dissolution of Flesh, but I'm so tanky that the Molten Shell protects me with a 5k life barrier so that I can be protected for 2 seconds to get my life back. As you can see, I don't take any damage. He is using MF gear and a Maze Bud to do a Daily Mirror in Tropical Island that gets progressively harder. And I am giving him I'm giving him, like I said, 1600 flat fire damage and giving him armor. Now, one thing that I just want to talk about, why did I think that this is a really good build and why I made a video about it, is that this build can be a great transition and cheap alternative to an Orbot. It's doing a lot of the same things as an Orbot, but cheaper and more effectively for a league start situation, in my opinion, especially if you're a newer player. You don't want to take the time to learn, like, how does mana reservation work in this game? No problem, play this build. You don't want to take the time of buying really expensive gear to make the Orbot feel good? No problem, play this build. That's really why I like the build. But as you can see, I can link up to him and I have 13 seconds so I can just run around, do whatever I want, and then I just gotta come back up to him and link to him. The only thing is, if I do that, he won't get my determination, and I don't want him to die to this abyss. There is one small downside to this build. If he dies, I die. And that can be pretty daunting. So keep that in mind. We're doing the +2 proj abyss strategy. You get a lot of abyssal things from the spire. I'm not sure what you call them, the little abyssal mob spawning things. The spire. As you can see, I'm using only 2 flats at the moment, and I could definitely use more than that as well. And I should consider doing that. Another downside that I could see with this build, and again, I haven't really tried it, so I shouldn't speak on this too much and take it for granted, is that if you're playing in a big group party, might be a little bit harder for you to lock onto the carry, and you might log on to, like, the support or the mana guardian, and that might not be what you want. So, like I said, definitely a unique build. Definitely has a lot of different variations as well that I haven't even explored. For example, instead of using Poom's Heart, you can use the Ivory Tower with Shaper's Touch and stack Energy Shield and give out armor. Give out more armor from the Ascendancy. Also, another thing that you'll see in Numbers' video is if you are league starting and you don't have as much gear as me, it might make more sense to go Inquisitor to take the regen and take the defenses from the Ascendancy, and then once you get more gear, you can transition into Guardian. I really like Guardian. I'm only using 2 Ascendancy points, but I'm pretty good. I have pretty good gear. And again, later on, I'll get the next 4 Ascendancy points. And I will give a tiny bit of physical reduction, tiny bit of life regen to allies, and I will give Unnerve and Intimidate. So, as a support, I'm doing a lot. But Definitely not a full-fledged Orabot or anything like that. In the comments, let me know what you guys think. We did hit a big milestone this league. We got 1,000 subs on our YouTube, which means we can apply for YouTube partner shortly. And this means that hopefully I can bring you guys better YouTube videos in the future. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Let me know how I can make better videos for you about Path of Exile in the future. And like I said, thank you so much for like supporting me on Twitch and on YouTube. If it wasn't for you guys, I would never do this. So I appreciate all the time that you guys spend with me, all the good comments that you say, all the productive comments, and thank you so much for considering me as one of your guys' content creators. This is a long map, so I'm just kind of rambling so that you have my voice in the background. But like I said, I'm not even really focusing on what's going on. Every 13 seconds I need to link up to Desla if I want. And I'm just vibing. I'm actually just vibing. It's just a very comfortable, fun support. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'm going to go ahead and clear the rest of this map, but I plan on making at least 1 or 2 more YouTube videos for Crucible League, and I can't wait for the next league. Like I said, if you have any suggestions, please comment below, and thank you so much for watching.